Alright, so for the Song of Songs, just have a couple of things that I noticed from the chapter. Um, so first, throughout the whole thing, I was just thinking that, like, intrinsically, I don't think we're meant to be alone or to be lonely. And I think in a lot of cases, being alone is dangerous if it's taken, like, to the extreme. For I think, especially in, like, adolescence or, like, development years, I think being alone too often has, like, bad consequences, like, especially with, like, depression and anxiety and things like that. But I also think that I think this is proven, and that even the, like, introverted people, when you I'm introverted, but, like, when I'm around people sometimes, um it feels good, like, it feels like a human, I guess. I don't know, something like that. And then from the chapter, I had two quotes that I found pretty interesting. The first one, find it, is this. um, Sexual love provides many people with their first experience of ecstasy, which literally means standing outside oneself. Therefore, the experience of healthy sexual desire can help us imagine what it might mean to love God truly. Um, so I don't know. I found this interesting. I've never really thought of sex as a way to love God truly. I think that's kind of foreign to me, but it's interesting. I think, and the more I think about it, I think the way that I was raised, it's like sex is, it wasn't demonized for me, but it was like, I know that it's only really fulfilling in a committed relationship. And I think the more that I think about this quote, the more it kind of is clicking and makes sense with me. And then she later says something like, it forms your soul. And then this kind of leads into my question, which was, like, why is, especially, maybe it's because we live in a secular society, but, like, why is sex demonized so much? Is it just because, like, I don't know, teenagers these days are just, like, sleeping around, or um, like, especially for young people, it's even in churches and stuff, it's demonized to the extreme. And I get that it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be, it is very intimate, and it's supposed to be meaningful, but I don't think that demonizing it is the best way. Um, find them so with each other. All right, sorry, I had a little interruption, but I was saying that I don't think that demonizing sex is kind of like the best way to get the point across that it's meant, like, it's intrinsically meant to be meaningful and fulfilling, not just on a physical level, um, but also, like, spiritually, as Ellen Davis is saying. And then I had a second little quote that I liked or found interesting, um, and it raised a question for me. So let me read it. So on page 75. A woman and a man equally powerful are lost in admiration of one another, or more accurately, in admiration they truly find themselves in each other. So I found this interesting because I think growing up, I think you see this, like, especially with my parents. Um, like, I don't know, I can tell that throughout everything, like all the hard times, and I've seen them fight a couple times, and it gets nasty. But throughout all of that, it's like they fall in love with each other every day, and something. I think that's something that every person wants, um, whether they realize it or not. And then my question to this is, can you find yourself um, without a significant other? So obviously, don't think you could find yourself in the ways that Ellen Davis is talking about, since this is mostly about, like, relationships and sex. But there's that saying that's like you have to love yourself before you love another person. Like, is that true? Or do you just need to know yourself good enough or something like that? Like, I think for me, my view is that you do need to know yourself well enough in order to love another person. But I also think that, like Ellen Davis is saying, like you will find yourself as you like as you are passionate with someone else. And I think that's for me that's the most attractive thing about being in that kind of relationship with somebody is that like I've gotten this far by myself and like maybe I want to learn more about myself and I feel like yes, I could do it by myself, but I think there's something special about that having another person that you can rely on like that. And I think that's something that's missing from my life.